everyone, it's Jasmill, and today I have an exciting video to film for you guys. Totally new subject. I've never done a video like this before, but I have a new hobby. So I am a new plant lady. I am one of those millennials that buys tons and tons of plants for their new apartment, for their new room, and just wants to fill up their house with plants now. And I have been collecting my plants since December. It is now April. And I have about 11, I think I counted it right, it's like 11 different plants. They're so beautiful and so cute and so different, and I can definitely see my collection like continuing to grow. I don't want to get too crazy and too obsessed and like be overwhelmed with taking care of too many plants, but most of these plants are pretty low maintenance. Like most of these plants don't like to get watered too much. Most of these plants only like light, you know, I only like rotate them from the window to like different parts of the desk or a bookshelf or something like every like 3 days or so. So I feel like most of these plants are so low maintenance, and that's why I've been like having a good experience. Most of my plants have been flourishing. The only one that's been giving me really hard time is this fern back here. It's this rabbit's tail fern. My mom got it from a friend last summer, and she kept it outside, and then she brought it back into her house, and then it started dying obviously in the winter time, and then I was like, oh, I want it. And then when I brought it over to this apartment, it shed so much. It was getting so orange and so like sad looking and dead, and like it was just really, you know, sad. But my friends were telling me to give it more air, so like leave it near my windowsill and open the air so like it can get some airflow. It also loves a lot of water, so let it drink water for like 2 or 3 times a week or something, maybe 4 times a week. It just, you know, it required a little bit more attentive, and it did get better. Like this is a lot of new growth, and it started shedding a lot less, but now I feel like it's like sad again. And I really just can't wait to get all of that old dirt out of there. I bought some new dirt. The main purpose of this video is to give my plants a makeover, and I wanted to film it. This is April, in the beginning of spring. This is when, you know, plants like to get nutrients, new soil, and I'm going to exchange some plants. Most of these plants are new, so they don't need to get repotted, but I feel like this money tree over here, it was a gift from my last job around the holidays. I just feel like this money plant needs a bigger house, so I'm gonna actually exchange it into this pot because it's a little bit bigger, and I'm gonna get this baby rubber plant into this home. And I also can't wait to get rid of this soil because this was a gift from my roommate. She has a ton of plants in her room as well, but I noticed that this soil is producing a lot of bugs. So I'm gonna get rid of all that soil. This is my first time like repotting and like touching the roots, and I'm super nervous because I don't want to kill anything. But I just have to like be confident. I just have to get in there, be confident, do this because I know my plants will like it better in the long run. And I also got this new pot from Amazon right here. It's this speckled pot, and it's gorgeous. I have this dragon fruit cactus like succulent, and it already has like it's already in a plastic container with holes in the bottom, so I just literally like put it in here. And even though it does have a drainage hole in the bottom and this little cute little plate, I also got another pot because I wanted to I think this pothos is doing great. I actually love that it's getting whiter in some areas right here. I actually love that. Sometimes that's not really a good indicator. Sometimes like it means that the plant is doing bad when it starts getting a little white. But also there are some pothos that I've seen that do have naturally white like coloring on their leaves, and these look really healthy, like beautiful. There's some holes in the leaves. Overall, it's looking great. The pothos plant loves a lot of humidity, so I think the only thing I'm gonna do to this one is put some pebbles. I got some pebbles, so it's this is like decorative, but also it's great for humidity because when you water and the water stays on the pebbles, like it, you know, condenses up or something like that and gives the plants humidity. So I think I'm just gonna put some pebbles on top of the thing. And I also wanted to change this plastic thing because it already is in a plastic container with holes, and then it's in another plastic container. And I actually really wanted to get rid of this container and give it like a pretty home, like a more aesthetic home. It's really ugly. The new pot that I got from Amazon was broken, and I also think it was a kind of like a small, like short pot. I wanted a more like taller pot for this plant. So I'm gonna order this in the future. So unfortunately I wasn't able to level up this plant's home for right now. So this, I actually am not gonna do anything to this right here. I just wanted to show you guys this new avocado plant that I'm rooting. Literally straight from an avocado that I bought from the store. I saved the nut, and I watched like this video on Instagram Reels, and it showed you step by step how to get the roots to grow. So I actually did find a real like vase for it on Amazon that holds the avocado, because this cannot go in the water. So this can stay on top of the vase. And then I love the clear vase for these type of plants because I love to see the roots grow, but you can also do it in a different color vase. And then the leaves are gonna be so pretty. They kind of resemble the money tree right here. I guess I'm just doing a little show and tell with all my plants. This one is a brand new one. I got it like literally 2 days ago, and it's a croton. It's a gold dust croton, I believe. I googled it, and that's the one that that resembled the most of this plant because it literally just says foliage plant. So I had to Google it and see what it is. So because it's brand new, and I love that it does come in like a glassy ceramic kind of vase, I don't have to switch the home. It's pink, and pink isn't like crazy my aesthetic right now, especially not this shade of pink, but I'm gonna leave it. It's super cute, it's super cool. And the only thing I'm gonna do is dust it with my alcohol and essential oil spray to kind of get rid of the dust in the leaves because it's very dusty. And I do this about once every 2 weeks. I take this spray and I spray it all over the plant. And I also take a tissue and I dust off the plant so they can be clean. And the essential oils that I put in here are very good for insects, to kill them, to, you know, just like disinfect them. It's anti-mold, it's antibacterial. So I really think that using essential oils, it's so great for plants. This one is gonna get a new makeover. I think it's gonna stay in the same pot, but it has like foam in here to keep it standing, and then a tiny bit of rocks. But I want to get rid of the rocks, and I have other, of course I'm going to use some of these pebbles, but then I also got some more lava rocks and other different rocks, pebbles and sand and different things, so I can fill it up here. This is a bamboo, and this bamboo literally is so minimal, it just needs to stay in water. I forget the name, it's a really long name, but it is a cactus. I literally just got hurt by it a couple minutes ago when I was transporting it over here to the floor. I got some of these spikes on my arm and it hurt, and now it's a little itchy, so be careful. I do have my roommate's cactus gloves right here. So this one is gonna be super cool because it actually gets pink and red like on the top. I got it from like, my roommate got a lot of cactuses and succulents from Facebook Marketplace, and I wanted to get this one, so I just have this one, but it's literally only in rocks. So I want to put some soil in there, and I want to give it more water because it's the springtime. It just needs a little bit more soil because it doesn't have any soil right now. So I feel like it's a little sad, and I want it to grow and become alive and get funky like it's supposed to be. This one is gonna stay the same. I just wanted to show it. This one came in its beautiful little glass from the grocery store, so perfect. This is literally just a succulent. I don't know the name of it because Market Basket isn't descriptive with their labeling. Some of the leaves on the bottom were a little bit rotten, so I just plucked them out. But again, it's super low maintenance. It's beautiful, but it's very, very fragile at the bottom. Just a tiny bit of water. I usually kept it away from the window, but now I'm keeping it at my desk near the window. So I feel like it's just, it depends. Like, I feel like I can survive low light or, you know, bright light. This was actually free. My neighbors from the apartment building that I live in left it downstairs in the lobby because they have like 3 other, you know, of these plants. So I was like, oh, I want it, and I got it. It just has a little dead leaf right here, so I'm gonna cut this off. And I honestly don't like this moth in the front right here. So I'm gonna get rid of this moth, I'm gonna throw it away, and I'm gonna add pebbles again to it. And that's it. It has a beautiful vase, or pot, so I'm gonna leave it there. I already dusted it with my essential oil, so maybe I'll spray a little bit more, but that's it. I don't know the name, but I think it resembles calatheas the most. They literally feel fake. They're so like velvety and smooth and gorgeous. Now I'm gonna get down and dirty, and I have my distilled water. I'm gonna unbox my cocoa core or cocoa noir thing, and I'm gonna soak it in water, and I'm gonna mix the cocoa thing and the new soil that already has fertilizer and some pebbles and rocks, and I'm gonna get started on the fern one first. Hopefully I don't kill it too much because again, they're very fragile. It's also great for drainage, so you can mix it with soil, and it's also great for keeping the plant like healthy and moisturized and stuff like that. So it's just great. And I got, I think, 5 bricks. So I'm hoping that this is enough for my big ass fern pot right here. Eventually I'm just gonna keep this in the balcony in the summertime. Okay, these are the 2 bags of soil that I got, and honestly, they are not enough. So I'm really, really hoping that the cocoa core does fill up that big ass container, because I need to throw away all that old soil because it has a lot of bugs in there. But I think it's bugs that help the environment. They're like garden bugs, not the like killer, really horrible bugs, insects. But this is, I saw good and bad reviews on it, but the YouTube video that I was watching for plant care recommended this. So I'm hoping that this is a great soil. This is called Black Gold, and it has fertilizer in there. It has earthworm castings and natural fertilizers, and you can put literally, you can plant vegetables and flowers and anything. It has a lot of nitrogen. Here I'm preparing my garbage trash station. I'm watering the cocoa core. Make sure there's a lot of water, and make sure you disinfect all your scissors and knives. Now I'm cutting through the soil and the roots, and honestly I wish I didn't use my nice knife for this because I feel like it did ruin my nice knife. But here I found all these bulbs. It's so creepy. Look at these bulbs. So I had to Google them because I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like insect eggs, but I was like, what the fuck? Why are they so big? But they're called bulbs or bulbs, or I don't know. They're basically bulbs, and I guess it's just a natural thing for these ferns. They help them survive. They help store water. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly, I really don't know. I did find some little insects, but I thought there was gonna be more insects, more worms, but there really isn't. There's just a like a dozen or two dozen. I don't know. I've only seen like 5 or 6, so maybe half a dozen to a dozen of these tiny white little like creepy crawly, and I think it's just like a garden bug. And they're mostly in this section, like the top middle section. Clean this with soap, and there's some holes at the bottom, which is great. Guys, this was a really intense job. I was sweating and my back was hurting, and this was a lot. And this fern was really complicated to get untangled. The roots were all intertwined with dead stems and dead roots and all the bulbs. So this was really hard to do, and I kind of wish I put the ferns that I did save in a smaller pot, because this pot was just way too big. And at the end of the process, a couple days later, the ferns actually started getting some mealy bugs and some brown scales, and I had to really cut a lot of it down even more. So yeah, the fern has continued to be really complicated, but let's just talk about that a little bit more later. Right now I am switching the rubber plant and the money tree. I'm just switching their containers because the rubber plant is still a baby, so that can get the smaller white container, and the money tree is growing. And I discovered this. It's a bandage that they put around the roots of the money tree to keep them together. I guess it's a very common practice, but I don't like it, so I took it out and I put some of the new soil, kept some of its old soil because it was still very new, and the money tree is continuing to flourish. And then this rubber tree is so happy in the smaller container, and again, it's growing, it's getting bigger. And it's not a traditional like dark ruby money tree. I mean rubber plant. The rubber plant loves this soil so much more. There have been no more bugs, and I keep it very like under direct sunlight because it loves direct sunlight, the rubber plant. So now I'm doing this cactus. The cactus did have some old soil, but I cleansed it a little bit and put it in the new soil and dug it in a lot more. Which maybe was a mistake. But now onto this bamboo. The bamboo also has a bandage around its roots, and I don't like it. Maybe it's a common practice with like Asian plants, but I don't like it. And I filled it up with the rocks and a lot of pebbles, and it's really secure in there. The pebbles make the water last so much longer, so I definitely suggest it. And now this Diaphanbachia, I love it so much. Again, I took out the moss and I cut off that old dying plant on the bottom. It's a really common thing. The Diaphanbachia just grows so big, and the top always gets new growth, so the ones at the bottom always kind of die off, so you have to just keep snipping the bottom ones. And now it's more perkier, and it really loved the new pebbles and everything. So happy that I did that. And now this croton, yellow dusted croton or golden dusted croton, is amazing. The pebbles were too much for this soil, this container, so I definitely had to take off the pebbles because it was a tight container and it was too heavy, I think, for the soil. So yeah. So now this fern got infested with mealy bugs and scales, and I started noticing it. And as soon as I noticed it, because I was checking it and I was so worried that, you know, it wasn't gonna be happy in its new home, so I wanted to make sure that it was okay. And now I had to cut it back so much. I had to take, you know, extreme precautions and measures and do my essential oil rubbing alcohol mixture every day, every other day, until I stopped noticing the mealy bugs and the scales. And I kept it distant from the other plants, and I gave it a lot of light, and I gave it water, and it definitely dried out the leaves a lot. The leaves were very dry and started wilting, and again, I had to keep cutting it. But now I feel like it is looking better. I see one new growth at the bottom, so maybe it was just like old root rot mixed in with the new soil or something, because the new soil obviously didn't get the other plants infected, so I don't think it was the soil. But yeah, I'm so annoyed that this fern keeps giving me so much trouble, but I just pray that it just flourishes and gets so pretty, and in the summertime it can really thrive now that it's healing again, and, you know, hopefully it doesn't get any more bugs in it. Onto my other plants. I have the money tree and the Diaphanbachia pretty close together. They're beautiful. They're my bigger plants. Tropical, gorgeous, big leaved plants. I love them. They're perky, they're growing. They have a few like little white spots on them, or little markings on them. I'm not sure why, if it's too much water, too little light. But yeah, and then these are my little succulents on my desk. They're so cute. Getting more light next to the window. These are my other plants. Sometimes I change them, sometimes I keep them here. Again, the croton, I had to get rid of the pebbles at the bottom. It's lost a lot of leaves, but I think it's also just adjusting to this new environment. There's the rubber plant producing new growth, getting bigger. I hope it gets really, really big and strong. There's my bamboo getting more curlier and wider. And there is the pothos. The pothos is growing up, but I wanted to start trailing down, so I actually bent them down a little bit. And again, it still has the variations, with my roommate says it's because it's not getting enough light, but I think it's still cool. And then this is my cactus. Again, I dug it in too deep in the soil, but I hope that it gets bigger too. And then my avocado little plant.